Hello, guys. Welcome to episode 20 of the Empowered Hearts podcast. Today we have the famous Hayden Tricker on. And when we thought about having guests, Hayden was the first person that came to my mind because his story and who he is really depicts what an empowered heart is. So I'm so excited to pick his brain today.
Yeah, yay. Well, Hayden.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, okay, let's talk about, how I found you originally was because you were Rachel and you were like the hottest lesbian on the internet. And that's just like your story. That's where you came from, to me at least.
Yeah.
But how did you end up there? Like that was quite a crazy thing for somebody from a small town to be.
Yeah. There's so many like different layers and kind of dimensions of my story. And that's like probably one of the hardest parts, like defining or explaining like who are you and like the story of like how everything like came into place. The main thing was after college, I went into some security jobs. I was a security and dispatcher at a casino. I also worked in a hospital as a security officer, and that was pre-COVID. So I was just working normal kind of shift work jobs. And a little kind of more of my background, I've had a lot of concussions. I've had 8 concussions from playing professional sports and also just from being drunk and stupid. I didn't really care about my life. I just was really reckless, and all those concussions caught up to me to the point that I really had to start taking my life seriously if I wanted to be able to function normally, because I was on the verge of some brain damage and serious like symptoms that were not going to start to go away or I was able to heal. So I kind of went on this like personal health journey of finding what modalities that weren't necessarily Western focus, but more Eastern background, using energy healing and breath work to be able to help heal some of those post concussion syndrome symptoms. During that time is when kind of COVID hit, and I knew that if I just stayed in my small town, which is just like nothing but fields around, and I was home alone and I had no purpose, I was going to become depressed like I was previously.
Yeah.
That without that drive, without that purpose to wake me up every morning and to get ready, I would just kind of fall back into that slump of what was known. So I started making TikToks, and really just for the intention of making other people smile, making other people happy, because at that time I was just trying to fill something within me that I was trying to do at first externally. Because it was the focus. If I put it outwardly on everyone else, I didn't really have to look inwardly. And that's like, I'm grateful for that time, because it started to get me out there, to get out of my comfort zone, to post things that I normally wouldn't. And I did a lot of like just different trends and dances and things that like I could do because it was just me and my phone. But if you were to like tell me right now to like get up and do one of them, like another side of me would come out. To I would be like too embarrassed, or like just more so insecure. So I really just started to post all these videos, and a lot of people started following me. And it kind of went into this like validation kind of sense, that after I got so many followers, I just kept making videos and posting for everyone else. And it was like I would always do things so that I would get more views or like get more attention. And it was always hyper focused on mostly my exterior. Like
Yeah.
people, I knew I would get more views if I like unbuttoned my shirt or like had my hair a certain way, and just knew the like certain thirst trap trends that would get me that kind of attention. And then that's when I met Victoria, and I was already kind of on this like healing kind of self-discovery journey. Prior to meeting her, I booked a one-way trip to Calgary, and I wanted to just get away to the mountains. I knew the mountains were calling me. I just wanted to travel alone because I was in between different relationships and was like, this is my opportunity to really like find who I am and what I like.
Mhm.
So prior to meeting Victoria, I had all this plan of a one-way trip booked with no intention really, or no plan on what I was going to do. I just had a hockey bag of clothes and was just going on my way. Right before I left, I stayed at Victoria's house. We met like a few weeks prior. We just went out for the coffee and got to know each other. And little did I know that I would be spending the rest of my life with that person that I had only met twice. And then I went out to Alberta. I was there for a month, and then she decided that she wanted to move to Vancouver. So she was driving with another person that she met, and I was like, I would love to come too, like pick me up along the way. And they did. They drove, picked me up in Alberta, and we continued all the way to BC. And again, like it wasn't an intention to just like I had no plans. I didn't know what Victoria and I were, what we were doing. Like we just moved in together kind of right away. And she kind of tells a different story of me kind of imposing on her space. But I had the the mindset of if it didn't work out, I was just going to continue on my way. Like there was no harm in me kind of traveling, and this was like still me finding who I was.
Mhm.
And Victoria had a non-negotiable that I had to start meditating if I was going to be with her. And during that process, like really just started to sit in that silence and get to know myself, get to know some of those triggers, some of those shadows that are the deeper like parts of you, and start to ask questions like why I had certain beliefs or certain perspectives. Um, I got my breathwork certificate. I did my energy like healing. I started to really be my own healer
Mhm.
and like go into almost like a hermit mode to discover all of that. It wasn't until I was going to do a collaboration with a laser hair removal company, and I had a hair phobia. Ever since I was little, I hated body hair. I used to shave everything because I just despised hair. And I
Mhm.
didn't know why. And
Yep.
that was a question I really reflected on, was like something that is so natural and is so normal and that everyone has it, like why, when did it become ingrained in me that it was like either bad or dirty or gross or whatever kind of those feelings were that I felt. um After reflecting on it, it was mostly because of my older brother. He would always tease me because I hit puberty before he did.
Oh, okay.
So he was a year older than me, and usually females always hit puberty before males. So it was always like, since we were little, this competition of I was usually more masculine as a kid, and it became always this competitive because he was born a cis male, and a woman couldn't be better, or taller, or stronger, or whatever else than he was. So this kind of started off the like me not liking my body hair. And then when I went to go get it lasered off, this was a really good thing. I was like, this is amazing. I just could get rid of it. They offered to add in my face as an extra bonus. So they're like, we can just add it. We're doing everything else. Like, we'll just do your face too. And that's when like an emotion hit. It was like this like sink in my stomach of like a feeling that I haven't really felt before, like a grief that I didn't know I had, and just like a feeling of sadness that I didn't know why.
Mhm.
And a sense that like I would never be able to have a beard one day really kind of hit me. And when I brought it up to Victoria, she was like, she pretty much like, I don't even remember how it went, but she almost like laughed in my face to be like, this isn't like a normal like woman's thought.
Yeah.
Like, what are other thoughts that you have that you think are just normal that aren't? So
Mhm.
I really like again sat with that energy of why do I want a beard? Why am I saddened if I were to never have one?
Mhm.
And really reflecting on what other parts, especially my chest, like what things that I wished upon when I was little to have like breast cancer, because that was the only way that I knew I could remove my breast because I didn't like them.
You
And
really
then like,
thoughts?
pardon?
Like you felt that when you were younger?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like I didn't know that all women like didn't have a disconnection and didn't like a lot of women like embrace that part of them. That's like who they are and like really like love that their body in that way. And to me, there's just always this like disconnection where I never felt that way. And I just thought it was a normal thing to have or to be.
Yeah.
So after that, I really kind of sat with all those kind of things and I cut my hair. I That was a huge part of my journey of my self-discovery was releasing all of the energy that was tied to my hair. Especially when I was little, my mom, my dad, they always loved my long hair. I have a vivid memory of me being like 8 years old and my dad taking me to the hairdressers to say, get whatever haircut you want. And I said, chop it off. And the shortest they would go was like up to here because they wouldn't let me go any shorter. And when I got home, I thought my mom was gonna divorce my dad because of how upset she was that I had hair down to like my butt and I chopped it all the way off to like my ears. And in pretty much that day moving forward, it was kind of ingrained in me to like never cut your hair. Like, or you're only beautiful with your hair. Like anytime we're going to an event or a celebration or something, a gathering, it was always like wear your hair down. For my graduation, like wear your hair down.
Okay.
So there was just so much around my hair and like my either worthiness or my love or the acceptance part of it that once I released that by cutting it off, it was like this huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. And then it was every time I looked at myself in the mirror, I could start to like slowly see myself. And I have some other memories of going to see other energy healers or like psychics or astrologists to all of them saying like there was something that was going to happen in my life that was like this pivotal moment that was like a 360 that I couldn't see yet. And like even Victoria was saying something about it. Like she's like, there's something that's gonna happen. I just don't know what it is. And a few other people are like, I see almost like this image of you in the bathroom, like wiping away the steam and like seeing your true self, like seeing who you really are. And I would like be like meditating, like begging on my knees to be like, tell me like what is it? Like I'm ready. Like I want to be in that space to finally receive that part of myself. And it like finally hit like one day where it was like, I am trans. Like I I feel like I am a man and that realization also took a huge turn because then all the dysphoria started to happen. Once I embraced that part of me, then it was like, well, I'm in a woman's body. So now, if that is who I am, how am I going to navigate the way that I look? And
Like, what
now,
does it feel like? Like, uh, for people that are listening, like, what does that feel like to be like, I am actually a man? Like, how is it just like a knowing that you felt?
yeah, like there's a few different things that I'll kind of talk on of like why it kind of like spiraled almost a different way, more so the spirituality side of it. But the best probably feeling I could relate it to is maybe like looking at older photos of yourself and whether you were like really fit or overweight or whatever that was, and then you look back and to be like, oh, I like did not like my body back then, but you were actually like really fit. And
Yeah.
like at that time you couldn't really see yourself and like there's still like this kind of disconnect. It's similar to that, but again, like I don't think there's anything I can relate it to that you would experience because unless you've experienced it.
Yeah.
Um, but the spiral that kind of happened was within the knowing that I had that I chose to be born in a female body and that everyone comes to earth knowing some of those like experiences that are going to happen for whether the partners you're with or certain challenges that come up for your soul's growth that you already have in place like your family or religion or certain things that are going to happen. So then I was like, why did I choose to be born in a female body? And is it my mission to stay on this earth as that? Or am I failing my mission if I transition? So then I really had to see like what was the reasoning why I chose to be female? And is it just like I know the majority, like 98% of my past lives, I have been male. And is it just that's what's more known or that's more comfortable to my soul? And then kind of going down that journey of like, is what is the right decision here? Is there a right or wrong decision? If I do this, yeah, the only thing that kind of came up to me was like, am I failing my mission? Like, is this just really, am I really supposed to embrace this part of me that is born in a female body? And I came up to kind of like a realization that for the first 25 years of my life, because in past lives I was always like this masculine, like hard, cold, like leader kind of role, that I was never in touch with my emotions. I
Mm.
never got to be in that sensual fluidity energy that my body, like my soul really craved. So that's why I chose to be in a female body, because I needed to integrate feeling my emotions. And for the past 25 years, I feel like I really was able to learn that lesson, to integrate that part of me. And now within society, and like, again, I can't speak on if things were different in the world, what my decision would have been or what my soul would have chose. But right now, I feel like is a time where it is embracing and allowing people to be who they are and be authentic for like whatever that means to them, and also help balance the polarity of masculine and feminine energy. So I decided that within my body and like my soul, my mission and my growth, it was best for me to be in this form, to help others, to be able to, like, I'm really passionate about helping men right now, being
Yeah.
able to help men really connect with their hearts, their emotions, especially from the perspective and the journey that I've had. Like, I know how estrogen feels in my body. I know how testosterone feels in my body. I've went through puberty as a woman. I've went through puberty as a man. Gotten to experience all those. So I have this like unique perspective now on life, and also like internally what happens and even how emotions show up in the body, that now I can teach others.
Wow.
And that's also not everyone's journey as being transgender.
Mhm.
I didn't have to take testosterone in order to be whole or be complete, like within me. I wasn't filling anything outside of me to give the power to testosterone to make me happy or to love myself. I already was able to love who I was without anything else. And that's where made the decision from a conscious and grounded place that I don't need anything that I do. I just now do it because we get to have desires. We get to have, like, if you want to go and get Botox, you get to have that. Like, if you want to have breast implants, you get to have that. It doesn't mean anything less. Like, as long as you're doing the work that is like why you're doing it, then that's okay. And being able to transmute that energy, that it's not from a lack, but it's because of loving.
That's interesting. So the way that like I've contemplated breast implants for years and years. So just you saying that, so that's what it is for you. It was more of just like, I know who I am on the inside, and now this is just like extra
Hmm.
for you
Yeah.
to take the testosterone. And did it mean something emotionally for you to do top surgery?
Um, Top surgery was my main kind of thing, which made me like cause like a lot of my dysphoria and like just discomfort. I still like did a lot of work on like loving kind of that part of me, and also like energetically as well, like the heart chakra. It's the most like powerful energy center to have that block before, because you're constantly trying to like hide it and like have your shoulders in and not show, like it's constantly always kind of dimming your light. So I was always like really cognizant of having that open, and even now having scars in that area from my surgery, like still removing a lot of that scar tissue and any blockages that would have came from that, like having an invasive surgery. So I've tried to do it as like holistic, kind of natural as I can for my body in the healing process, and like just intuitively, like every time I even do my testosterone shot, I look at it like I kind of introduce myself to it to allow it to blend with my energy, so it's not a foreign substance that I'm injecting into me. I imprint my own testosterone into it. So I hold it, I infuse it with light and allow it to like use my energy to share my own testosterone into it that I just inject back into myself.
That's beautiful.
So were you always, like you said, you went on your own spiritual journey, but were you always spiritual, or was this whole thing was like an awakening on its own?
Yeah. Yeah, like my first like awakening kind of happened after if I really go back, probably after my last concussion, which was in, I don't even know now, 2016, maybe 2018. I would have to look back at photos. Um, I think 2018 was in Nashville that I was drunk and riding the electric scooters and fell off a few times. And like, it was one of those times that I could have probably died because I was like puking and didn't go to the hospital and went to bed and then woke up and got on an airplane and was like puking the entire airplane ride. And like, I was just so out of it that I couldn't make it like an informed decision for myself to care for what I needed at the moment. After that was really like a reality check for me for the way that I felt after, that I started to just like be more, I guess, aware of my feelings and started like with like more so like positivity. And then Victoria, meeting her and her doing her first like psychic reading on me, that was the next kind of awakening that I had within more like spirituality and like learning more about like chakras, energy, the body, like psychic abilities. And then after that, probably a year into like our relationship was really when I dove into more of the modalities for see what I was as a healer, not just like Victoria being able to clairvoyantly see things and channel and more so be like that mainstream psychic, but what was my gifts. And
Mhm.
when I started to really see what those were, that's kind of when everything else awakened within me for me realizing that I'm trans and also now the tools that I use within frequency and like vibration and energy.
Can you go into that a bit? So you said like you were trying to find out who you were as a healer. So what are your gifts and what do you do with spirituality now for people that don't know you?
Hmm. I kind of blend a lot together. So I I'm learning more about it, but it seems like for me being a manifesting generator, I don't really invent or create anything that's like Victoria because she's the generator where she creates a lot of things that like are just new. She's
Mhm.
like that leader out there where I seem to have this like certain perspective where I can see all the modalities and I can pick out the pros and cons of each one and then blend it into one that's like makes them all great. So
Yeah.
I'll take all the pros of each and then put it into something that works for me. So a lot of what I do is kind of in the best way that I can describe it is more the 1900s technology within Rife machines. If anyone doesn't know what a Rife machine is, it is a frequency generator that was created by a guy named Royal Rife. And he discovered with a really powerful microscope that everything for every microorganism, every bone, every cell, every disease has a specific frequency. So it all vibrates at a specific rate that when you expose it to the same rate, then
Mhm.
it shatters like when an opera singer sustains a certain pitch and can shatter a glass. Because of through resonance, it's vibrating at the same frequency. So when you match that frequency for like a parasite, they will shatter because they just can't sustain holding that.
Okay.
So there's things that now I use with a Rife machine that I can do for specific illnesses and healing the body and detoxing. And then there's also different ways that crystals have really amazing technology within it. And similar to holograms, so anything holographic that I can program or imprint with a specific frequency, and either I can broadcast it to your body through those, or I can physically give it to you. And I've done it for both of you.
Yeah.
Yes, you have. We love it.
I love them. I was actually
Yeah.
thinking about you yesterday. I was like, I need to get some more grounding
Mm,
because I've lost them.
yeah. And then like there's a lot of cool things that I can do with like DNA when someone sends me like their fingernail to put
Wow.
inside the machine, with specifically the Rife machine having it in there, and then picking different programs that I use with a pendulum to tune into your energy to see exactly what frequency is going to resonate best with your body. So there's that part of it. And then more so now I'm into radionics, which is using two, like a radionics plate that has two coils, and there's an input and an output. So there's a lot of different things I can do with that by imprinting and programming stuff by putting it on the output and using my Rife machine to send the frequency to it,
Hmm.
or anything that I put on the other side, say like a vitamin C pill or anything physical or a quartz crystal, you can program that specific energy into whatever thing. So if I had your DNA over here, I could send you the quartz crystal like frequency, vibration, like blueprint to you.
Wow.
I can also like, if I wrote down like your name, your birthday, or had your photo in that, like I don't need your DNA, and I can have that on the one side, and I can again broadcast anything that I want to your energy. There's also different things within radionics that I can make different like symbols and like vibrational kind of blueprints that are for your energy,
Hmm.
for specific illnesses, symptoms, concerns that are going on. And then I use a lot of charts. So a lot of charts of the body, and I use my pendulum to tune into every state of the body. So I can go into like what is the vitality of your skin, of your organs, of your nervous system, out of each system and section of the body. I can get like a full kind of analysis report to then decide which is like the priority, what is the root cause of some of the symptoms, and then be able to use my pendulum to find the exact rate, dosage, or remedy that's going to work for you.
That's incredible. So what is the coil one called?
Radio.
Radionics plate.
Onyx.
So yeah, radionics is also like from the 1900s. A lot of farmers used it. So that they would use it for farming instead of pesticides. That if you put a map of the land on the coil, and then you can also enhance it by taking soil from all four corners, north, east, south, and west, and put that on each side. And then on the other side, have different, like whether it's like herbs or natural, like not chemicals, but natural substances, or you could have just like, if you wanted to, chemicals, because you're just sending the vibration energy of it to your land. So they
Wow.
wouldn't have to use any physical stuff that would be harming the environment.
That's incredible.
That's
I've never
crazy.
even heard of that before.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things for like what radionics you can do. And really, it's just being able to tune into the subtle energy fields. So Victoria does that with her mind. Like same with you, Crystal, like you don't necessarily use a lot of physical tools, where like that is my way of like channeling it kind of into something to be the medium. And then also like I have a lot of like, yeah, like just healing energy with my hands. So a lot of, I thought about doing more like the therapeutic kind of touch or like anything in that way. Like I really want to start getting into more in-person healing
Hmm.
uh, for my tools, but also to be able to use my energy. And then I do what's also called emotion code,
Oh, do
which
you?
is
I was looking into that. Now that
yeah,
I went down into hypnosis, I'm like, well, what else can I do? And what else? And
yeah.
I've just opened up a door of many doors.
Yeah, so that like this is where like I bridge like, so the Rife, the radionics, emotion code, which is using a magnet and I use my pendulum to figure out the exact emotions that are trapped in your body and the certain times. So if there's like an emotion, sometimes you'll have to go deeper. Like you'll need to know more information about it to be able to release it. So I'll figure out the specific age, the event, the experience that happened, who's it with, and then be able to clear it with the magnet.
Hmm.
And then I also do what's now called biofield tuning, which is using tuning forks to
Hmm.
then help kind of bridge any of, so the best way again that I can describe this is our body is like a tree. When you
Okay.
cut open a tree, you see all the rings.
Yep.
Every ring is the eight, like each year of the tree.
Okay.
So usually you can see how old the tree is when you look and you count all the rings back. Our energy field has the same similar kind of essence to it. So our aura, the electromagnetic field, every year of your life, so it starts out here because the first year of your life, the first year of the tree is like the first one. So it's out here, and then it's like 1 year old, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then so on until you get to the present body, which is like your current age.
Okay.
So if I have a tuning fork and I start from where you were born, and every time I hit it, like hit the tuning fork, it is sending a vibration that is then connecting with your body and kind of resonating back with the tuning fork. So it will change the sound, the vibration, the way that it is vibrating when I am in a certain spot of your energy field that you have a stuck emotion or trauma or experience that has happened that is caught in your energy field. So then as I'm like hitting it, I can feel and it won't let me move. It's like when you're like kind of like you're sweeping on the floor and you have like a big like muddy kind of spot. You're like gotta sweep and just stay there a
Oh,
little bit longer to clean it.
yep.
So I then sweep all that in and I bring it back to the body and into the chakras to be able to like transmute and release that energy.
That is
Mhm.
So
amazing.
there's different parts of the chakra system in the body where certain things are held. And then there's two spots that are like these channels where it's your ancestor lines. So you're the left side being the feminine, your mom, your mother line, and then over here the father line. And in there is more of the ancestral trauma, the generational trauma. So then sometimes I feel something in that. But it's crazy. Like I can be way out there and I only get like a tiny bit in, and then I can tune in to be like, did something happen in a specific, whether it's like a certain chakra when you were 2 years old? Did like what kind of was going on at that time, and then be able to release it, and like it's always like very accurate for like certain spots for where different energy of emotions are held,
Hmm.
and like a specific sound of the way that it vibrates, and your body corrects itself. So once it hears its own
Oh.
vibration, its own like energy, it's like looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing a pimple on your face. You're going to want to pop it and fix it because we don't like anything that's like flawed. So your body, when it hears like this awful sound, it's like, oh, that's what I sound like. I need to like tune that up and correct that spot.
Okay.
So
Fast.
then that's how like I'll bring all that in
Yeah.
and then be able to release again like the energy, the emotion, and like different layers, levels of
Yeah,
the
and
energy.
that's done in person.
No, I can do that all distantly.
Really?
Yeah, I've had it done
Yeah.
distantly.
Holy.
Yeah. So I just like I tune into your energy like field and be able to just like have you kind of right here and then be able to
Huh.
release it.
Amazing.
Do you
Wow.
have a favorite modality that you use?
Um, Not really, because I mean it all depends on the person. So it depends like what their needs are and what I feel like is the best way to support them. Because like I also do breath work.
Hmm.
So I can also bring them through a breathwork journey to help release more like body kind of wise. Like if there's something like usually like an injury, like stuck in the body, and needing to release, or like blocked throat chakra, like being able to physically express that and like sigh it out and move that energy is like going to be more beneficial. And then also I do some like nervous system somatic work um as well, that's in more of like a meditative state. So like with that I would also use the emotion code with releasing emotions with the magnet or my tuning forks to like add on.
That's
help.
amazing. So do you do like Zoom?
Yeah, sometimes like I'll do it on a Zoom, but again, like I just have to know your energy. So sometimes I will hop on like a quick initial call, see who you are, talk like anything for your intention or what you like, a little kind of health history. And then I'll usually end the Zoom and tell them go to a space where they feel comfortable or safe or relaxed, whether that's they want to go walk in the forest or like go and lay down and meditate. I let them kind of go do their thing because me on my side, like it doesn't help to have you sitting there and then feel like you're just like either having to stay still or feel like you're being watched or something. I can do everything without you here.
That's amazing. That's fascinating.
Wow.
I love it.
I just want to circle back. I have a question. So how, like this journey you're on now, I know that you're thriving and I know that you're doing really well and you're happy and I feel like you found yourself. Has it been challenging like from other people? Have other people like been challenging for you on in like acceptance from A, your transition, B, you working um spiritually? Like has any like with those two things?
I'd say like my parents have been like really good with it all. My mom didn't really believe in a lot of it at first until I've helped heal a lot of her ailments.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
that's been like a huge part. Like when we're living back in Ontario, I was really helping my family with all their health. So that's like helped to see, like allow them to see actually what I do and experience it and have benefit from it. My mom had a torn ACL, and before that she could get surgery, I was able to heal it so that she could walk upstairs and like function pretty much back to normal.
Mhm.
And I told her like to still get, it was just like a scope surgery to remove like the arthritis and the cartilage that was in there. Like I could have done it, but obviously it's going to take a long time to remove that clutter instead of like them just going in there doing a small surgery to remove it and then me healing everything after. So the second she came out of surgery, she then came back to my house, and then I instantly within that first like half hour started to do healing on her, which is an important part. Within like the first 2 to 3 hours is when you need to start
Oh,
like using, yeah, like the Rife machine or the frequencies to work
wow.
on the healing, because that helps like advance it like more than 50% quicker.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I've helped her a lot with that. Just different things with her, like her stomach, her gut. I've helped like detox some like brain fog, her allergies, her inflammation. Like she used to take a muscle relaxing pill like every day. She no longer like takes any of that. So I've really like helped remove a lot of the pills that my mom used to take. And then the rest of my family, like my siblings have been a little bit indifferent. I don't even know the right word for it about my transition.
Yeah.
They're not very expressive, so they haven't really said too much about it. They just kind of act like I was the same every single time I go home as I was before when we all used to live together. So it's just kind of I'm at a different point in my life, and we all have different beliefs, and we kind of are just doing our own things that it doesn't really match right now, which is okay because it's like the people in my life, if they don't add anything to it, then it's obviously draining to communicate with them or have them a part of your life. And that's another thing with, I don't like have too many friends because of like spiritual awakening is one thing, and like feeling that difference and separation, and then also transitioning where I don't really relate to like lesbians anymore or like really fit in kind of with them because I obviously look like this. And then I also don't really fit in with cis men because there's still like I have a complete different perspective and outlook and experience that I can have compassion and gratitude for what they go through, and also like how and like what's expected kind of from them and the pressure that they have, because I feel all those same things, but in the sense that like there's always still this disconnect because I respect women so much more
Yeah.
than and like understand on those deeper levels. So it's been like a little bit lonelier in that journey, and I've started to create a trans men's community because I really felt a lack of support within spirituality with trans folks and who are on the same path of like holistic healing and self-growth and like entrepreneurship as well. Like there's not too many trans folks that you see who are leaders and successful and putting themselves out there.
Yeah.
And that comes with a lot of other like backlash on social media, being able to willingly show up and share that I'm trans every day on my social media when I don't have to.
Yep, absolutely.
Did your followers support you, or did you lose people?
In the beginning, I lost a lot, but I would say the majority have been amazing and have supported me and have stuck alongside like the entire journey, because no matter like what you identify or what you like, if you weren't following me just because I was a hot lesbian and are also just like here for my wisdom or my journey or my authenticity, you're gonna still gain something from it.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of other like just like cis women who are in straight relationships that are older that love to follow me. And there's no like intent kind of around it. It's just they love to see my journey. And also like it's some of the things I share is educational. So it just helps others either relate or trigger something in within them for where they're not showing up connected to their heart or authenticity.
That's so true. I mean, I don't think the route you've taken is quote unquote easy, like you really listened to your heart and soul and you followed what you needed to do.
Mhm.
It's beautiful to see.
Mhm.
Yeah, so then I always like said for the followers that unfollowed me, it's like clearing out the trash. Like everyone kind of goes through that where the following goes up and down, and I've never attached my worth to that. Yes, I got caught trapped in like a people pleaser kind of that as an external validation, but it's never meant something to me. It's never went to my head that I have almost 500,000 followers on TikTok. Like I hardly post on it anymore. It's not about the people. It's I show up for the impact and for me. Like now I only post things because I want to. It's not for anyone else.
I honestly believe at a deeper level that you gained the following to then share your transition in your heart. And it's like
Mhm,
people for sure needed that message of like,
mhm,
this is, yeah, just your heart, because you've changed so much, but you've just gone so much more yourself, right?
mhm. And it helps too because there's not too many conscious trans people out there that are also tapped into like spirit source God and like doing things from a grounded like heart-centered place for love for themselves. And
Yeah.
then also right now with like the media and anything else like the school system and everything, if you don't know someone that is trans, I don't blame you for thinking or saying the things that you do, because it's what the news and everything else is feeding you.
Yeah.
So I also feel like me sharing my journey is helping others have more compassion and just like the education and understanding around what it looks like to be trans, what like some of the journey that I've went through, like a lot of people for their kids, their daughters, their sons that are going through that, to have someone that has a perspective that I do and is sharing kind of a little bit into the depths of my journey helps them understand their kid or their own journey.
I want to ask you a question, and I remember at the brand retreat, we went over this a little bit, but like, how do you feel about society? I guess I'll use the word indoctrination, like indoctrinating younger people into being open about transitioning. Like, do you think that there's a certain age, like with your experience, do you think there's a certain age people quote unquote should or shouldn't be exploring, or like what's your take on that?
I kind of see
I know you have a very grounded perspective,
Well,
but
I see both sides to it. So I see like obviously the younger kids who know who they are, which again, like I can't really speak on because that wasn't my journey. Yes, I knew at a young age, but I also like I didn't know. So me coming out at 25 was my journey and like what I guess I chose to do, where some other have know so much that that's who they are at those young ages, where if you push against that, you're causing more trauma to them and you're creating more of this like pushback that's not really needed. So there's a certain part that when the school system comes into play, you also have so much bullying and kids that don't understand anyone that is different. So having some education around that would help lessen that, to be like making this person stand out so much that they're different and they get teased and everything for who they are. Where if they understood it and were taught it, then maybe they would like have more compassion for them. So I see that side. And then there's also the other side where it's like the kids are young, they're exploring, they're discovering themselves, that we shouldn't have so many labels and different things, that it should just be allowed to express in whatever the way kids want to, without being like, this is what boys do, or this is what girls do, or that's this or that, with all these stereotypes. We just allowed everyone to kind of be androgynous and to discover who they are and what they like, then it would just come to more oneness and love for each other. And then every single person can be different instead of trying to fit into a specific mold or um that part of things. So like I kind of see that. And then even with like when kids do want to transition young, it all really depends on like every situation is different, everyone's journey is different. It's going to be working with those younger kids to really allow them and give them the help that they need, the support. All they're really wanting is love.
yep.
So once you can give them that love and acceptance and allow them to express themselves and be seen and heard in that, a lot of the times you'll really get to see, I get their true heart and intention in it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like you get to be intuitive as that parent to know and protect what that child needs, but also like lessening, I guess, the trauma that child goes through.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yep. Amen.
Do you have any other questions?
I don't.
No?
No. He did such a beautiful job.
Yeah.
Sharing
Do you have
everything.
anything else that you want to share that maybe we didn't cover?
Um, I feel like I hit a lot of the main kind of things. Like if usually when it comes to authenticity, like it is an inner journey. You have to start to really understand and know yourself. And I see every trigger as an opportunity to show myself what is not healed within me. And I've been able to like transmute a lot of that energy for what in the hate that I get online for even different rejection wounds. When people say things, I notice the way that my body responds to it. So it's just having awareness, then acceptance, and then releasing and surrendering kind of into it. And each time that just gets easier to know yourself more and then be able to show up authentically in the world.
I
Beautiful.
can't imagine that. Like to be honest, I didn't even think about that, of what it's like to experience hate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I'm like a blonde white chick,
Yeah.
like realistically. And yeah, like I do you get a lot of hate?
Yeah, recently in like past, I don't know, so whenever I posted my recent reel about sharing that I chose to be born in a female body and I don't believe that I was born in the wrong body. And a little bit about reincarnation has hit over 20 million views.
Wow.
So that obviously when there's that many, it gets on different sides of social media, that it does bring in a lot of negative comments and people trying to like impose their beliefs and perspectives and just say hurtful things that they would never say in person. Because again, like I'm allowing you into my life and my journey that if we were walking down the street, you would never know.
Yeah.
So I had to turn off my comments for that post because it is still increasing by the day, by the hour. But it's good exposure. Like any exposure, even if it's hate, there's still like everyone has kind of their own lessons. And I can also have compassion for all of them for not understanding.
Yeah.
And maybe one day one of my posts will help turn on that light bulb for them to maybe see a part of themselves for like why they're judging because they also are insecure about who they are, um or something that's going to relate to them. That's all I can hope is sharing that there's no like look or type or anything for like being trans.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
that's amazing.
So what does it mean to you? You can answer this any which way you want, however, like whatever comes through. But what does it mean to you to have an empowered heart? Like if you sit with that, what does that mean? We ask this to everybody.
Yeah, I think it's being like connected to your heart for one.
Mhm.
In order to have an empowered heart, you have to have an open heart. You have
Mm,
to be able to feel your heart. And then once you're kind of in that energy of your heart, it's, I guess, having the courage to then express it, which is more of the empowerment side of it.
I love
Follow
that.
it. Yep.
Do you have an answer today? We always seem we have like different answers. So it depends like what season we are in our lives. It's like, what is
Yeah.
it like for you today? And I was on like I had faith for a while. It just really was holding that.
Yeah, like self-trust.
Yeah.
Mm.
Right now for me, I think it's about letting go. It's funny because this is what I said to Victoria the other day. She's like, "How are you?" I'm like, "Well, I'm really just trying to let go of
Mm.
like thinking of anything." She's like, "Let's let go together." And I was like, "Oh yeah, let's do that." Letting go of like thinking about anything that is further than this moment right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then I feel overwhelmed. So
Yeah.
letting go for me is my empowered heart right now.
I don't know. I think mine is just presence, being
Yeah.
present to and not presence and just trust that like whatever is meant for me will come and that no matter the amount of searching I do in life, that's not what's going to attract my life's path.
Mm.
That it will just align. And the more that I lean into knowing that, the more evidence that I receive of it just always working out.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, amen.
it's just like, and next will be, I have to plant roots in BC. So it'll all of this
She's
stuff.
moving.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Hayden, thank you so much. And we want to share your, like, we'll share your website and stuff so that people can, you know, if they want to have a
Mm.
session with you or
Healing.
session or buy the stickers and stuff, because those stickers, Hayden sells the, how would you describe it? It would be the,
The healing armor.
yeah, you describe it. I'm gonna butcher
I've
it.
named it. Yeah, I think that the best ways, if anyone does want to see my offerings, is just to reach out to me. And because again, I've described I have so many different modalities and ways that it gets sometimes confusing on like I don't even know what I need or what's gonna work for me. So I can usually make the best decision to create a specific kind of healing session for that person or recommend whether it's my healing armor that I do in the hologram or the crystal, or do a breath work or a body attunement or my Rife machine or detox or any of that.
Amazing.
Amazing. You have so much under your umbrella now.
Yes.
Okay, Hayden, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you,
with
Hayden.
us.
Yes.
We will
Yeah.
see you guys next week.